This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a theoretical quarantine zone, and I've seen Leftovers, a short new comedy drama from director Chen. Set in 2020 around the outset of the pandemic, the film follows Steven, the son of a Chinese restaurant owner, as he takes over the business for a few days when he figures that sales will be on the decline for a while. As potential customers continue to ignore the building, save for whatever toilet paper might be hiding inside, Steven finds trouble when the rent comes due and he can't even make half of it due to the lack of business. I think calling this film a comedy drama would be a bit of an exaggeration, at least for me. Leftovers comes out more like a drama with elements of comedy, focused more on its story and the trials that Steven goes through than anything more overtly comedic or even ironic. As a drama, the film does do well enough, with the overall situation Steven undergoes feeling a bit contrived but ultimately realistic. If anything, it's the others within the film who are less than developed. Most of all, a character near the end of the film who seems to exist for the sake of making a thematic point, though it's a point that we don't so much already see coming, because it's apparent from the first scene, that being the treatment of Chinese people during the pandemic. It's a situation that's meant to be climactic, but it feels more cruel than anything, which may be the general idea, but certainly cements the film in drama more than comedy. As for the technical elements of Leftovers, there's certainly a good amount of creative work at play, if only to end up in somebody's example reel at a later date. Cinematography does a good job at avoiding staleness within the already dead restaurant, keeping shots interesting with different angles depending on whatever needs to be emphasized, and further maintaining some creative shots in a few outdoor scenes, though it tends to repeat itself depending on the location. Editing also plays into this, with slow and lengthy takes to highlight the lack of activity during Steven's day-to-day operations. It manages to balance the feeling of having to endure a slog of a workday with a more entertaining pacing, keeping the audience from being as bored as he is. It all comes together to put Steven in a rather sympathetic light, which is more or less the greater idea of the short, assuming that he's meant to represent any Chinese person affected by the pandemic. It would have felt a bit more satisfying if the film's tone had been a bit more upbeat, but at the very least it manages to keep everybody's head above water. Leftovers. Chen, 2021. 3 stars. Despite not being as comedic as a comedy drama ought to be, I'd say that it's still worth giving a watch. That's it from me. If you like this review, leave it a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I'm in the mood for Chinese food now. Maybe there's some frozen meal in one of the office fridges around here. Have I told you guys about the fridges?